Scare Bear is a very minor character in the animated superhero adventure comedy show Venture Bros, only appearing a handful of times over the show's 7 seasons, with a tiny cameo flashback in the finale movie. He's usually a background character, but his last appearance in the show was so important to the plot that it raised a huge amount of questions and theories about which other character from the show might be hiding under the costume. In the second to last episode of the final season, Hank Venture, one of the Venture brothers, is seen trying to contact his girlfriend Serena during a blizzard in New York. He assumes the worst and decides to visit her to see how she's doing. On the way, he fools around like he usually does, but ends up knocking himself out in the snow. A little while later, he is luckily rescued by Scare Bear, who picks him up. After first bringing Hank to get some snacks, he then brings him to Hank's brother Dean's college dorm room, where Hank discovers Dean sleeping with Serena.
Holy shit!
There's a bear behind you.
Oh, good. You guys see him too.
Which leaves the question, how did Scare Bear know that Hank was in trouble and where to find him? And how did he know about Hank's girlfriend and brother having an affair? Those are the questions that turns Scare Bear from a random funny background character into something far more interesting. There's been a lot of theories about which character Scare Bear is. One of the most popular theories claims that he's actually Hank from the future, trying to guide himself toward one goal or another. That would explain how he knew about it. But I personally don't like this as an explanation. If it's a changed Hank from the future, it might as well just be Hank from an alternative dimension at that point.
I guess Rick and Morty exists for that kind of stuff. Like the Venture Brothers, we go halfway.
This mystery is only interesting if it's someone we already know, and actually them. Not a clone or future version, even though the show is filled with those things. There are a bunch of other characters that might have one reason or another to either help Hank or try to influence him. But the issue comes down to how they would even know about these two events. Could they technically be able to locate Hank and spy on his girlfriend and brother via magic or technology? Sure, but none of them have any motivation to actively watch the actions of any of these teens so closely that they could react as quickly as Scare Bear did in this situation. For some, Scare Bear's actions and demeanor don't match their character. I don't believe that if Brock, the boy's bodyguard and second father figure, found out about the affair that he would hide inside a bear costume over it. Instead, I think he would confront Dean directly and try to get him to come clear to his brother about it. He does have a tracker on Hank, so he could be able to find him in the snow. But it seems unlikely that he would silently bring him to Dean instead of giving him immediate medical attention. Likewise, Dr. Henry Killinger would just tell Hank if he felt like Hank would be better suited on the path of evil, rather than trying to manipulate him into it.
Mine is only to guide you to your truest selves.
I'm sorry. I become the proud papa. I love my job!
There's also a lot of things that lines up for it to be Serena's bodyguard Rocco, but I just don't think that he would out Serena like that. It could be that all of the whale lice henchmen in Serena's mafia father, Wide Whale's employ, are using the Scare Bear suit at different times on covert missions from Wide Whale. And there is some logic to this, but it still comes down to knowing about both these two events and where they are. Serena does have a tracker on her, but she is known to remove it when she is having fun. So who do we have that could reasonably know about the affair, could find Hank in the snow, and would have a motive for revealing the affair to Hank while keeping himself hidden? Excluding time travelers, I believe there can only be one answer. Dean's roommate, Jared, the secret identity of Brown Widow. This show's anatomically accurate Spider-Man parody, played by Nathan Fillion. It would most likely have to be someone on campus who knew it was happening. Jared is also her ex and did see Dean and Serena hanging out.
Oh, hi, Serena.
Hi, Serena.
Bye, Jared.
I'm here.
He might also have caught them without them noticing, seeing how he and Dean shares a dorm room.
Jared, don't you see the tie?
Plus, the bear has a big stain on his butt, and Jared would sometimes accidentally excrete spider fluid into his pants.
Mark Knopfler crapped his pants again.
Now, when I had this realization, I wanted to see if anyone else had thought of it. I first found this video, while he makes some good points.
Look behind Jared. Look at that flag behind on his bed. What flag is that? The Canadian flag. And what does Canada have? Maple syrup. And what does maple syrup taste like? Pretty good. But you know what else Canada has? Grizzly bears. And what is Scare Bear? He's a grizzly bear.
He didn't touch upon anywhere near my full list of reasons for why I think Scare Bear is Brown Widow, so it still felt worthwhile to make this video even though it was not an entirely new idea. But what really pushed me over the edge was when I found this video.
Okay, so some people seem to think it could be Jared trying to break up Hank and Serena so he could get back with Serena. And I just gotta say, like, what are you even thinking? What kind of crack are you even smoking to make those conclusions? Why would you try to get your ex back by showing her current boyfriend that she's cheating on him with a totally different guy? How does that make Serena come back to Jared? Like, what are you guys thinking? Maybe you think he's got some crazy plan?
Or maybe he's a fucking idiot?
Rick Frost! Thank you!
Also, during the Doom Factory party, where we see Scare Bear is physically there, we know Jared is busy during that same episode. Oh, what's he busy doing? He's actually helping Hank on his date with Serena. So, I mean, literally no motivation. Unless he has a body double, he can't be in two places at the same time. It's a terrible theory.
So for the first point made by FoxClan here, revealing the affair to Hank will not directly get Serena to go back to Jared, but it will likely lead to the end of her and Hank's relationship, and very likely stop a new romance from developing between her and Dean. If the two of them were allowed to reveal what happened to Hank at their own pace, it would have been hard, but not as completely devastating and bridge burning as what happened. Having Serena be single is just the necessary first step before Jared thinks he can swoop in to try to win her back. The Venture Bros wiki also claims that Jared helps Dean try to make Hank's date with Serena perfect, giving Dean the name of the restaurant he works at. But in fact, there is no indication that he told Dean the name of the restaurant to help with the date, instead of just telling his classmate where he worked.
I already secured the reservation. Brown Widow works at a brasserie downtown that is très Hank. We'll rendezvous there.
And while serving as their waiter, he's actually far from helpful in keeping the date perfect.
And for the lady.
Hi, Jared.
Yeah, so hi, Serena.
Wait, you two know each other?
We used to date.
Excuse me? I think date is a little inaccurate.
Really? So what was it then? Just messing around? Friends with benefits?
Are you kidding me right now? Please just get me a fucking ninja ale, stalker boy, okay? I don't need this drama.
I'll get you those drinks now.
When it comes to availability, it is true that in the same episode, Scare Bear does show up at the party that the art collective/evil organization Doom Factory holds in Hank and Dean's father, Rusty Venture's penthouse suite at the top of VenTech Tower, where the whole family lives, in order to steal super science equipment from him. If we are going to assume that this actually is the real Scare Bear, and not some avant-garde art piece based on him, considering we do not even see him move in the sequence, which would be fitting since Scare Bear's design was based on an art piece in the first place. We can at least cross off both Brock and Rocco off our list of suspects, since they were with each other at the time. But let's see if there's a possibility that Jared could have been present for both these scenes. We first see Jared at 12:20 in the episode, but he exits at 13:10 after taking their drinks order. We then see Scare Bear at 14:40, exactly 1.5 minutes later. And then we see Jared again at 18:40, wearing his Brown Widow outfit, 4 minutes after we saw Scare Bear, 5.5 minutes after we last saw Jared himself. The restaurant's design is inspired by the real-life ninja-themed restaurant, Ninja New York, which used to be located at 25 Hudson Street, which matches up with Hank's location on Brock's radar. That's quite a ways away from VenTech Tower, which is located at Columbus Circle near the southern edge of Central Park. By using the Spider-Man 2 PlayStation 5 video game, we can estimate how long it would take someone with Spider-Man's abilities, like the Brown Widow, to travel across New York. I have estimated this back alley to be approximately where the Ninja restaurant is supposed to be. For VenTech Tower, I'm using the Baxter Building, formerly Fisk Tower, which is the headquarters of the Fantastic Four. That is in pretty much the exact right location. And VenTech Tower itself used to be the headquarters of the Venture Bros version of the Fantastic Four. That's actually where we are first introduced to Scare Bear, when he was apparently auditioning for the Revenge Society, the new villain group of Phantom Limb, and the newly secretly evil Professor Impossible, a parody of Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four, whom Dean interned for at the time.
So, I can't seem to find your resume. Dean, can you bring me the paperwork on, what was your name again?
So, how did you hear about the Revenge Society?
Where might we know some of your work from?
Oh. He's not on the list. I'm sorry, I don't know how he got in here.
And he's got a knife. Superpower. Rick Frog!
Thank you!
And Jared is actually also introduced in that episode. Anyway, let's see how quickly we can get to the roof of VenTech Tower from the ninja-themed restaurant. I really wanted to find a mod that changed the swinging animation to a more anatomically correct version, where the web was being shot out from approximately the bum, like what Brown Widow does, but I sadly couldn't find it. I actually met Nathan Fillion, the voice of Jared, at San Diego Comic-Con in 2012. I was a big fan of his work on Firefly and Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, which are both amazing if you haven't seen them, by the way. But this was very late in the evening after probably a full day of dealing with fans, so when some of the people in line with me for the Doctor Who and Supernatural panels in Hall H the next morning wanted to get photos with him when he was walking past, he seemed a bit tired of it all, which is fair. But this was my first meeting with fame on that level, so I was a bit off-put by the situation. And even though I would have loved having a chat with him in a more calm situation, I didn't feel like being hurried through a selfie with him. But I think I might have been making a face, because I feel like he scowled at me. Doubt that he remembers any of this, but I wish I had just gotten the selfie. That's 1 minute and 28 seconds. Now, let's see how long it takes to get back. This experiment is not 100% accurate, because the game's version of New York is somewhat compressed. But I'm also not as skilled at swinging as Spider-Man or Brown Widow is, so let's just say it all evens itself out. In the first draft of this video, I was just completely silent for both directions of this whole Spider-Man travel section. But I was a bit worried people would get bored and switch off. But now I'm just worried I should have left it as it was. Let me know in the comments if you think it was a good call to add some dialogue to these sections. That's 1 minute and 9 seconds, for a total travel time of 2 minutes and 37 seconds. But we also have to factor in time for 2 wardrobe changes. I'm going to assume that Jared almost always wears his Brown Widow costume under his other clothes, so slipping out of his ninja costume would be relatively quick, as we can see in this scene where he stops the Monarch from robbing a bank, changing his clothes in just under 5 seconds. He would then probably bring along his Scare Bear costume in a bag or backpack to the roof of VenTech Tower, where the size of that costume would make it easy to quickly slip in and out of. Then when returning, he would notice what he assumed to be some sort of real evil ninjas and attack, which means I don't have to factor in him having to change back into his ninja clothes. All put together, I don't think he would need more than 40 seconds in total for the costume changes. And it's not like this sort of stuff wasn't on the mind of the creators, as proven by this clip from the same episode.
Venture and Samson run out, and then 20 seconds later, the blue morpho and his big sidekick show up.
Preposterous. There'd be no time for them to change.
Wrong. I can do it in 18.6 seconds. Here, time me.
No, that won't be necessary, Councilwoman.
Now let's also add some time for Jared to quickly get someone to cover his table to bring Hank and Serena their drinks while he pretends to go to the toilet. That shouldn't have to take a long time at all, especially considering his co-workers might have seen him shitting himself before. So let's say 10 seconds. Then altogether, that's 3 minutes and 27 seconds in total. So, would he be able to make it from the restaurant to VenTech Tower and back in the 5.5 minutes between his 2 restaurant scenes? Yes, with 2 minutes and 3 seconds to spare to snoop around on either the Doom Factory, or in Hank's room, or whatever his motivation might be. But would he be able to reach VenTech from the restaurant in the 1.5 minute between him taking the drink orders and Scare Bear showing up at the party? No. The travel time, costume change, and time needed to get someone to to cover the table would have to at least take almost 2 minutes in total. But this is all assuming that the episode is taking place in real time, like very few pieces of media actually are. There could be a lot more time in between these 3 scenes than what we as the audience is experiencing. There only needs to be a 30-second discrepancy between the time of the episode and time passed in the world of the show for it to have been possible for Jared to be in both these locations, giving him a 6-minute toilet break as a cover. Or we could bring the discrepancy up to 4.5 minutes for a 10-minute toilet break and even more time to spend at the party. This is also just based on my own first few attempts at the run. You, or indeed Jared himself, might be able to cut the journey from the restaurant to the skyscraper down to just a minute, making it possible for Jared to be in both locations without factoring in time discrepancies. If you do make the attempt, please let me know how fast you were able to do it down in the comments. So we know Jared's motive for carrying Hank to Dean and Serena, but what about all the other times Scare Bear shows up? What's his motives for being there, dressed like a bear? I believe his appearances at the Revenge Society audition, at Wes Warhammer's Doom Factory happening, and as a member of the Guild of Calamitous Intent during meetings surrounding the capture of rogue vigilante the Blue Morpho, can all be explained by one of 2 possibilities. 1. He's using the alter ego of the villain Scare Bear as a cover for infiltrating villainous organizations to find info that he can use to fight crime in his role as the superhero, Brown Widow. 2. He's infiltrating these organizations, but on behalf of the Peril Partnership, the Canadian counterpart to the Guild, with a big plot point in Season 7 being about the Peril Partnership having a mole in the Guild. What's to say that they didn't have another, or that they didn't also try to keep tabs on other organizations? And it really is kinda weird how Brown Widow keeps hanging around Dean's apartment in the episode where he interns for Professor Impossible, after saving his father from the Revenge Society. Maybe he's there to dig for information about Dean's employer, or maybe to steal a keycard.
I'm sorry, I don't know how we got in here.
But why did he absolutely have to infiltrate the Doom Factory at the same time as his ninja restaurant shift? Because that's when the happening was taking place. If he wanted to see them in action, that's when he had to go. But is he actually as violent as he appears to be? I think not, and I found this scene from the Doom Factory episode to be pretty interesting.
Jeez, you're a mess. When did we start doing fake blood?
Yeah, it's teriyaki. Birthday boy at table 5's got a nervous tummy.
Almost seems like a clue. The only unanswered question left is how Jared knew to look for Hank out in the snow. My theory is that after he discovered what Dean and Serena were up to, he went to VenTech Tower to get Hank. But on his way there, his spidey sense alerted him to Hank lying knocked out, almost freezing to death in the snow. So those are my conjectures. But what does the creators have to say about Scare Bear?
This guy almost made his way into a couple of scripts, actually.
This riff
weird,
or this guy coming back?
I kind of wanted to stick him in the background every once in a while.
I think you'd have to bring him back big if you brought him back, or we'd be a different kind of show if
He's just
gagged him.
But yeah, Scare Bear had this whole thing. It was gonna be this backstory where he was Wes Warhammer's previous it girl superstar,
right?
And had fallen on hard times because Wes just
it's like a Valerie Solana's joke.
Yeah,
because she's hilarious, by the way.
No, because she was never a superstar. More like Edie, like that. People accuse Warhol of kind of destroying these people's lives, kind of sucking the life out of them,
right?
And so it's kind of like Edie, and yeah, there was going to be a quick flashback of his, when he was on magazine covers and everything, and then the drugs start, and then he falls on hard times, and Wes starts ignoring him.
Listen, pal, we have every other weekend booked. If you want to rehearse Into the Woods, you're going to have to put your name on the list a month ago. Friend, may I ask if you're a friend of Bill W? I can see your pain. We can't help.
And he sees that Wes is doing this to Edie too, because Edie's jealous that Wes is paying all this attention to Doc, and so he was going to stab Wes at the end of the episode, and the two of them were going to
There's your
try. The post-credits sequence would have been the two of them riding a motorcycle up to Woodstock together to just get clean and be in love.
There you go.
I sort of think that before Season 7, the identity of Scare Bear was not a factor. He was simply his own character, like Brick Frog. But by Season 7, he seems to have retroactively turned into something more important.
Scare Bear. I love that shot.
Yeah.
Scare Bear. Who's Scare Bear? We don't know.
Also, deli life is like this thing when you live in Manhattan.
Partnership, so I defend.
Anytime you're doing something, you stop at a deli and buy something.
Yeah.
So I think it was still in Hank's brain that he was hungry to stop at a deli while a guy in a frightening bear costume was bringing him to his...
Not only did I not get any, I was slapped with a restraining order.
Fate, yeah. That carried like, I have something to show you.
Facebooking her from a fake account.
I don't know what the hell I am.
Yeah.
But
are you the ghost of Christmas yet to come?
There's also a little dance that you and I do, a little secret courtship of ours.
What's that?
Where we love to pluck a tiny detail out of the other guy's thing, and then go, I'm gonna write for that idiot.
Oh my god, that was
or just anytime you need a throwaway name, you go, oh, I'll use the same one from back then, and then little by little, people want to know who that character is because you've mentioned him 4 times.
Yeah,
this is the question they got to ask more than any other question. At least 10, 20 instances of it.
I'm opening up some pop. Go ahead.
On this particular card, it is phrased thusly: what is the deal with Scare Bear?
I don't know.
A lot of people go, who is Scare Bear? The true insider shit is he was never intended to be something that was revealed.
Here's something that we do, and we talked about it in both of these commentaries. That somebody will drop something, and the other guy will pick it up and go with it. And then the next guy goes, okay, that's what he is. I need him for this. Right. And that's how we create characters. We very rarely go, let's develop Phantom Limb. We just do this habitually, and we respect each other, and that's how we write. So Jackson drops Scare Bear,
right?
Which is based on
Great Lake Dean City,
based on like a photograph. It was nothing, and then later we started peopling backgrounds with Scare Bear,
right?
Okay, so
once we moved to New York, I was like, oh, Scare Bear was in New York. He should be lurking in the background. I did want a lurking thing.
Yes, no, you didn't just run out of characters. You were like, I like seeing Scare Bear a lot.
He was an actual just serial killer in a bear costume.
Sure.
Who just like to lurk.
But so that was with Jackson.
Yeah.
So with me, when I started writing for him, I started going, well, he's Boo Radley.
Yeah.
He's this thing that is looked at as the most horrifying thing in the world, but he has but the mind of a child, you know.
He does have a bloody knife.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when I needed this kind of character to show Hank his life, I chose Scare Bear going, this is, and I had written other scenes for him too, like it's somebody we played with.
Right.
So I go, okay, now he is this kind of Boo Radley character.
Right.
And who is Boo Radley? He's just their neighbor who loved the kids.
Yeah. And did once kill a man, though, right?
And that being just very misunderstood. And that being said, if there was a season 8, you'd learn more about Scare Bear. And
Probably,
then you'd
but
learn...
I hate to admit it because it's only we never expected people to be like, there's a mystery here that needs to be solved.
When I use Scare Bear, I'm not.
He is by design mysterious, but he was not meant to be like.
When I
who
use
is he really
Scare Bear
out
in
there?
this Boo Radley concept, I knew people would fixate. I just knew it.
Yeah.
Because he's doing something really benevolent and he needing precognition. He knew where Dean lived. Okay, so I knew people
gets around.
So I knew people would start going like, it's Hank goes into the past and becomes himself, and it's an old Brock. Like there are
It's the Brock from Escape from the House of Mummies.
Yeah.
That
There are
was
all these fan theories and stuff, and I'm sure we would have got to it only because you kept talking about it, and we would have
Me
started,
or the fan? You're
the
talking
fans.
about fans. Yeah.
And then eventually we would go, I care now too, and I have to prove all these people wrong.
I do like him better as a Boo Radley though.
Yeah. Well, that's how we used him.
Because anything else starts getting too fucking comic book.
I kind of agree, but at the same time.
But I did in one of my episodes start seeding. I did lay the groundwork in case we wanted to make him a future Hank.
Yeah.
I did put it in. I did have a future Hank disappear.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
And Scare Bear was going to have an appearance in this special.
We talked about it.
We didn't.
Scare Bear?
Yeah, he was
Don't
going to
kid
be.
yourself.
No, the pre-title sequence was.
Oh, you were going to drop him in.
I had to cut those 2 pages.
Yeah, but we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do with Scare Bear? Well, in our discussion.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Scare Bear to us was Boo Radley.
Yeah.
And who knows? We change our mind constantly, and I'm glad you loved him. We started dealing with this thing that we did throughout the rest of our fucking writer's career, which is we'd watch an old episode and see something like Jonas in a dream in somebody's belly, like a Doc is a fetus.
Right.
And we'd watch the episode and go, you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, we would
see connections in our own work. It actually became very easy to retcon things to the point where it didn't feel like we were doing it.
I never felt like retconning.
You're just like, oh, here's something I never noticed about our own show.
Yeah, we were revealing it
but
to
also
each
a
other.
lot of it is just building on the past, and then a lot of it is you write an episode, you don't fit everything into it you wanted to. Maybe you introduce a new character and you have a whole backstory and you don't get to it. And so now you've got fodder for a later episode. And by the time you bring them back and you reveal that, you've found new ways that works with shit you've done. And so in one way you have planned it all along because I really did think of all this 10 years ago.
So it seems very clear that the writers oscillated between Scare Bear being his own well-meaning, misinterpreted character, like Boo Radley from To Kill a Mockingbird, and Hank from the future. I still don't like either the time traveler angle or that this pivotal character just happens to be a well-intentioned but misunderstood neighbor. I mean, look at this expression. That is either seething anger or maniacal joy, or perhaps schadenfreude. Hard to say with only the eyes. It does, however, not look like someone who's sad about what they are about to expose Hank to, or even someone who's neutral about it. And the
Who's Scare Bear? We don't know.
Really seems to be hinting at a mystery around his identity. So I'm more inclined to believe that it's future Hank than just another character. And they seem to have had some completely different plans for Jared.
That's a relationship that we both kind of play with, the Dean-Jared relationship, but we never go as far as we want to. I will say no more.
That's true, right? There was a deleted scene from last season. More the other people's perception of their relationship. Yeah.
Azalea's my favorite. Bet they smell just lovely, Dean.
Well, the doctor says with enough physical therapy, you might get up to 70% of your sense of smell back.
Yeah. Say, who's your little friend lurking over there?
Oh, well, Uncle Hatred, I want you to meet Brown Widow.
Call me Jared Jantz.
What? I thought we were keeping you a secret.
Oh, I've heard so much about this old bear. He's practically family.
Oh, hello there, Jared. I have heard absolutely nothing about you.
Well, we met at school.
Actually, our first time was at my apartment last year.
Last year? How long was I in a coma?
No. Last year when I moved here for my internship. And it was my apartment, Mr. Forgetful.
Oh, flash forward to a week ago. I'm up at school, and suddenly I feel that old familiar tingle. I turn around, I see this tall drink of water. Well, I didn't need spider sense to tell me we were going to become special friends.
Well, isn't that just... You two are all kinds of adorable. I don't care what anybody says. I support the heck out of you. And Dean, I think it's just... Gosh darn great you finally came out.
Oh, well, I really wanted to come out sooner, but I was waiting around for this guy.
Fashionably late, that's me. Hey, speaking of, class is in 10 minutes. Still want that ride?
You betcha. See you later, Uncle Hatred. Feel better!
All right, then. I support you, Dean.
They'll have plenty to talk about. In season 8, I guess.
Sure,
Could
because
be some issues there now.
With Vision Quest Hank, you have a lot of weird stuff coming up.
But then, some showrunners have been known to lie about their future plans as to not spoil the surprises for the audience. But even if that's not the case here, creative intentions does not make something canon. You can choose to use it to prop up your own headcanon. But until it's in the story itself, it's open to interpretation. So until they release Season 8, a movie sequel, or even a radio play, my Scare Bear is Jared the Brown Widow. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and thank you for watching.
On grand adventures, then pushed me with them for mayhem. Who's rusty? I'm rusty. I'm rusty.
Ever done any musical theater?
Well, I was in Sound of Music when I was a kid. Oh, and I have perfect spider pitch.